Guys, so today we're covering clearing fractions. So the first problem I'm going to do, I'm not going to clear the fraction, we're just going to work it just like normal. So if I look at number 1, in order to get the x by itself, I have to move the 5/6 to the opposite side of my equation wall. Well, it's connected by addition, so I have to subtract 5/6 from both sides. Well, in order to do that, I have to find a common denominator. Okay, well, my common denominator for 8 and 6 is going to be 24. So 8 goes into 24 3 times, so I multiply times 3, so I get 9. 6 times 4, so this is going to give me a negative 20. So then I'm adding these together, and I get that x equals, well, that's a positive 9 and a negative 20. So that means I'm actually going to be subtracting them. I need to close my windows, which is going to be 20 minus 9. So that gives me 11, but there's more negatives than there are positives. So the answer is x equals negative 11. Just a second so I can talk this a little bit. All right, so now what we're going to do is, so we don't have to remember all those fraction rules, we're going to clear the fraction. And the way that we do that, we're going to talk about down here in clearing the fractions. So rather than working with the fractions, oh, and guys, also, I'm not going to make you work these 3 problems. Okay, so rather than working with the fractions, it can be easier to use a process called clearing the fractions. The first steps are identify the least common denominator. Okay, that's the smallest number all denominators can go into evenly. Some of you may not need that explanation. Some of you may. Goodness gracious. Let's see if I can. I think I'm just not going to be able to use this pen. Okay, here we go. So if I'm looking at, and then we multiply the entire equation by the LCD, multiply entire equation by LCD, and this will clear the fractions. It'll get rid of the fractions. Solve, and then check. All right, so let's do number 5. Well, it's very nice in the fact that it provides me with the LCD. All of them can go into 7. Okay, so we would just multiply. My LCD is 7, so we multiply the entire fraction times 7. That means I'm doing 7 times 13 over 7 x plus 7 times 4/7 equals 7 times negative 9/7. Now, what you need to remember, excuse me, is when I have a whole number, to make it into a fraction, I put it over 1. Well, when I have a number that's the same in the top and the bottom, in the numerator spot and the denominator spot, they cancel and equal 1. So that means here I'm left with 13x plus, well, here, those are going to cancel and equal 1 plus 4 equals, here, that's going to cancel and equal 1, negative 9. This looks like a much easier problem to solve. So now we follow our steps. How is it connected to x? It's adding 4, so I'm going to subtract 4, because I always have to undo addition or subtraction first. Unless it's a big grouping symbol that's going on. This cancels, bring the 13x down, and I have 13x equals, these are both negative, so it's going to become a negative 13. And now what's connected to the x? The 13. So I divide, it's connected by multiplication. So I divide by 13 on both sides. These two 13s cancel. I'm left with x equals negative 1 as my final answer. And remember, to check, we always plug it back in to the original problem. So if I'm checking, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to have 13/7 times negative 1 plus 4/7 equals negative 9/7. We plug into the original. So to check, plug into original equation. So now we simplify negative 13/7. That's going to give me negative 1 times 13/7. So that's negative 13/7 plus 4/7 equals negative 9/7. Well, in actuality, guys, when you're working that, because they all have a denominator of 7, I am only looking at the numerators, which negative 13 plus 4 is going to give me negative 9/7 equals negative 9/7. This is true. So this is my correct answer. Okay, next problem. We'll work a little bit quicker through these now. Okay, number 6. I need the least common denominator. Well, this number doesn't have a denominator, but remember, it's understood to be a 1. So I've got 2, 1, and 4. What's the smallest number all three can go into? The smallest number is 4, because 2 goes into 4, 4 goes into 4, and 1 goes into 4. So now I'm multiplying everything times, not 2, times 4. Everything times 4. So this is going to be 4 times 3/2 a minus 4 times 2. It's not a negative 2. Well, I can treat this as plus, change this to plus a negative. So then that's a negative 2. Equals 4 times negative 13/4. And 4 times 3, well, I can do 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 4 2 times. So that's going to be 6a minus 8 equals, oh, those 4s are going to cancel, negative 13. And now I solve. It's how is the 8 connected to the a? Minus, so I'm going to add 8 to both sides. 6a equals negative 5. I'm subtracting these because they're different signs and the negatives win. How is a connected to 6? By division. So by multiplication. So therefore I need to divide to cancel that multiplication. So I divide by 6 on both sides. And we have an answer of a equals negative 5/6. Yes, you can have a fraction answer. All right, one more. Here we go, guys. Next page. Number 12. Excuse me. All right, so I look at my denominators. 3, 4, 20. 4 doesn't go into 20. Well, 4 goes into 20, but 3 doesn't go into 20 evenly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the largest denominator, and I'm going to start writing the multiples. So I have 20, 40. Well, yeah, 4 goes into both of those, but 3 doesn't. 60. Oh, well, 3 go into 60. Yeah, 3 times 20 equals 60. So this is my smallest one. So that means I have to multiply everything times 60. So I'm going to have 60 times 1/3 a plus 60 times 11/4 equals 60 times 39/20 minus 60 times A. And now I simplify. All right, 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 60 20 times. So I have 20A plus 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 60. I think that's 15 because it's 230. So yeah, 15. Because 34 goes into 2 goes into, yeah, it's 15. You can also check if it's by dividing it. So 15 times 11. Oh, I don't know what that is. So I've got to do over here 15 times 11. 1 times 5 is 6. 1, 0, 5, 1. So that's 165 plus 165 equals, okay, 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 60 30 times. So that means I'm doing 39 times 30. 0, 3 times 9 is 7, 2, 9, 11. Oh, that's not 2, that's 20. Oh, y'all will be catching that mistake Ms. Wilson made. That's 20. So this is supposed to be just 3. Because 20 goes into 60 3 times. So yeah, that makes life a little bit easier. So therefore, I don't need those zeros right there. So this is 117 minus 60A. And now we're combining what we learned yesterday in here. I've got to get all of my variables onto the same side. So I'm going to move my 60A over here and my 165 over here. So I'm going to add 60A to both sides. This cancels out, and now I'm left with 80A. Now I'm going to subtract 165 from each side. This cancels out. So I've got to do the calculations of, this one is bigger than 117, so I cannot subtract them the way they are. I have to do 165 minus 117, but I know that my answer is going to be negative because this 165 is negative. But I have to subtract big minus small. Oh, minus 7 can't do, gotta borrow. So we have 15 minus 7. What am I drawing a blank? 3, 5, 8. 4. So 48. Oh, and remember that's a negative 48. Divide by 80 because we're multiplying by 80. These cancel. Now, I always have to simplify. Okay. Well, the first thing that I noticed, so I have A equals, well, I know I can divide by 8. And that's going to give me negative 6 over 10. But I can keep going because I can divide by 2, which that's going to give me negative 3/5 as my final answer. Okay, go ahead and finish the notes and then you have the homework. Y'all have a great day. Bye.